Hey guys, just Nelson here for Absolute Streaming. A few questions online that do pop up occasionally when people want to use them. We use a Canon XF 605 as one of our main cameras. Great camera, does a lot of features. Ever since the advent of 1.0.3.1 firmware for the camera, it enabled SRT IP streaming, which is the potential to use a really low latency, high quality stream to get out, and especially under low network conditions as well. Does very well with that compared to RTMP. So from that point of view, we thought, well, we might use a bit more. Haven't used it as yet, but I am planning on this year and doing a bit more. But I thought I'd do a quick run through because there's not a lot of step-by-step work throughs in the, I guess, handbooks and everything else for the camera, and the manuals and things like that. So I'm in the menu settings here for the camera, so I've got the overlays on top. So when we go, the first key thing here is that you need to make sure that you are not on an HEVC codec. So if you see this here, so sometimes we'll record in our HEVC 422, gets a really good picture out of that. But unfortunately, because the SRT encoder, which is doing through the B encode, is an 264, then you're not able to use two different codecs on two different slots, essentially. So it wants to do the same kind of codec on both slots. So when I've set this to here, this was a big headache for me when I was originally trying to start all this up. You then go over to here, you enable connection, you go, okay, well, let's connect, and none of these were there. Everything was grayed out. It just wanted to disconnect. So when we go back to that, I'm going to show you here when we set this back again into recording mode. So you can set this to XAVC, that's also a 264 format. So when we come back again, normal recording, you can't set on anything else, and you actually have to set the second card record functions to off as well. Now I'm on 1.0.4.1, I think, on this. It's up to in the 5s now. I think it's 1.0.5.2 or 3 or something like that. So this has worked well for me, so I haven't needed to change anything for the updates that come with the firmware, but may do in time. So when we look at this here and we go back to the network feature, which pops up after that, the 1.0.3.1 firmware, this now has the ones that I've set up. And so these are previous ones that I've set up and when I've tested things like that. The Ethernet symbol beside the set 1 and set 2 there means that I was connected via Ethernet to get them sorted. The IP streaming one here is I've connected via Wi-Fi, which both have worked. So to start a new connection, so you originally have all these that you can start off and then go through. The connection wizard is the best way to kind of do that. Then you'll find this next function setting. So you got FTP transfer, which is generally packaging over the internet there, so you can send files quite easily. The browser remotes, the Canon apps, the XC protocol is another one that you can use, and that can go to your phone in the new Canon apps as well, so that you can control all the features. Unfortunately, you don't have features to be able to set up the SRT IP streaming, which is a bit lame. I wish that was in there as well, because using a multi-controller to put in lots of really intricate numbers and alphanumeric codes, which often it is, not that easy. So here we go with IP streaming. So let you set up setting as a function, save as a combination, so then we can put in another slot. So with these ones here, I do have existing settings, which is, for example, I tested on both my phone as well as my Ethernet just at home here. So you create a new setting. What I'm going to do is just overlay this so no one sees any of my other things. So when you create, I'll take it off. When you create a new one, it goes Wi-Fi or internet, and then that'll come over to another one, which then gives you a list of potential connections. So when you come through here, it'll say task in process. It'll have a look around. Now, interestingly for this, so you can refresh underneath here, you can select a network. I found that my iPhone with hotspot did not work unless you ticked maximize compatibility. Unfortunately, that's a bit of a pain if you were doing that and using multiple other things, because we find that our LiveView Solo Pro encoders actually need that off to connect to it. So each device wants different things when it comes to iPhones and hotspots. But essentially, I'm going to connect to my iPhone here just to show that it can end up in that way. I'll show you this one here because there's no other data on it. So this is what come up next. And this is where the issue becomes, is because now you got to do this. You can do it with touchscreen, so that's not too bad. So I'll just cover this all off here so that we don't kind of see it. Might kind of loop away from it here. until I come back. So just putting in the password here. Just make sure that all comes through. Task in process. So then you get, I'll take this off here. So you get then your IPv4 settings. So you've got automatic or manual settings. Generally just go with automatic. You don't need to do manual unless you've got some weird stuff going on. I disabled the IPv6 because I don't have that obviously on my phone. Task in progress. Okay, so now communication setting is saved and you continue with the function setups. So I'll just have a look what this says next. So next, this is your next screen. So select existing setting or create new function setting. So if you're doing a new one here, if you've not set anything else up, you create a new function setting. You've got all of these available that were here before. I never used any of these before. Certainly RTSP doesn't go kind of everywhere either. So SRT was the big one that I was waiting out for, which Canon then released in December 2023. So hit SRT here. You want it to be a caller. A listener would be something that is listening for it. Caller sends it out as SRT works. So destination server, this is the key one here. I can show you the port because that doesn't matter to me, but I will cover this up to put my IP address in. Now to do SRT, you obviously need, I'm on vMix at the moment, but you do need a static IP address. So you need to have that worked out from your internet service provider. So let me cover this up and I'll put my address in there. Let's try with the SRT prefix first. So just to show you here, before I put everything else in. So you need SRT:// and then you're putting in your IP address, whatever it is. Not the port, because the port is actually separate in these ones here. So when we go back to it, if you've set up, so after you put those ones in there, I'm going to show you back to here. So after you put in your stream ID, sorry, your address. So I've put it in with the SRT at the moment, which is accepted. So hopefully that means that it should need it. Some devices do, some devices don't. It's really hard to say. So next you'd need a stream ID on that one. And I'm just going to check because I don't know if I've got one set up on this one at all on vMix. So I can show you exactly how it works. Because I'm going between things and not anywhere else, I've only got a stream ID but no password. So I'll just cover this up. So we've gone through, you've hit your stream ID. Now on vMix, obviously you can make that up. You don't need one necessarily, but just you can put anything in. Encryption setting wise, I've not necessarily had anything that I've encrypted out before. It's not going anywhere, but you can certainly put encryption settings on it if you wish. So I'm just going to disable that one for the moment. Latency wise, 120 is very quick. Sometimes anywhere between 500 and 800 is not a bad thing when you're kind of balancing things out. In a low data environment, a higher latency is better because it gives enough time to pack it all together rather than setting it differently. So I'm just going to put it to 800. We sometimes use 800 here when we go to YouTube, which was a suggestion from them when we'd set up SRT as one of the encoding profiles. So I'm just going to set up 800 milliseconds for here. Now, these are the options that it gives you in terms of video output. So you don't have the ability, unfortunately, to make up your own as you would on any other device. So I'm just going to pick the 9 megabit here, select that through. You can select pairing of channels. Unfortunately, you can't have 4 channels that go through it from the XF605, but you can do 1, 2, or 3, 4. Task in process. No response. Let me make sure this is all set up here. So I wonder if it's need that. So what we might do is I'll go to one of my other connections here that I've had before and had set. So if I go IP streaming again, yep, sure. I'm going to select an existing setting from here. I'm just going to put it across here. So this is just selecting Wi-Fi or Ethernet option basically. So you can set up with a network connection or without it and those there. So you've got kind of tasks in progress here. Create a new function setting here. We'll go down to SRT. It may not have needed the SRT, which was the thing that kind of did it. So with destination server, I'm just going to cut this away while we're at it. And then it wants my stream ID, which was the next step. I'm just going to show you this one again. So same process as we were before. I'm going to disable that. I'm going to change this latency up to 800. just because I can. I'm testing it. We'll go up to the 9 megabit, just the dual channel. See if this connects. Cool. Function settings saved, which means that it has connected. So now we set it to a new destination. So I've done that one there with just the IP address and no SRT prefix. So if I set that to unspecified here, okay, and then we go okay. So you then go to activate IP streaming on here, then go to enable. And if we're working, we should see it come through to our vMix, which is our SRT stream. Now I can prove it to you that it's live. Now I'm not in a great internet area where I've got my phone connected and I'm trying to get 9 megabit out. However, if I go waving my hand in front a little bit, you can see that there. So not a great amount of internet. So what you can do then, I'm going to flip this back over to menu. So you go back to disable, okay? And now if we want to connect to that, we can. We should be able to, so I think we have to disconnect first. So then you go to disconnect, disconnect. It does take a little while sometimes. So if we go to connection settings, I go down to 5 here. I can change with the wizard. Can select existing settings. Unfortunately, there isn't a way to set this up without changing your bitrate kind of on the fly. So you can't just kind of disconnect. This is where you would need to set up different settings and mode, or I guess the network connection settings. And then potentially what you're going to do is have one that's going to be called maybe 9 megabit, one that's going to be called 5 megabit or whatever. So let's selecting existing one. I'm going to select, we'll set it up new while we're at, because it won't take too long. Go cancel on there. Create new function, SRT, caller. So when I get this one here, so no SRT prefix on this one. I'm going to flip that back over. So we've got through all those. And then the encryption settings, disable. I'm going to put that at 800 for what it's worth. Again, that's just kind of how long it takes glass to get back from glass to you. All right, now I'm going to set this one to 4 from here rather than 9, and it might do a bit better. Good, that means that it's functional, that it means it's contacted my vMix and that the port is open and that it can send something to it, so it's tested that out. So this is changed in set 5. I've not set a new one, I've just changed it to set 5. So then we're going to go back to settings here. Go to enable. I'll point it back at the blinds. Then you can see. So what I might do here, so I'll get out of our menu. I might do a bit of a tricky thing here with vMix. So here's our SRT. So I'm going to wave my hand in front of it here. 1, 2, so you can't even get to 1 second. SRT as protocol is really kind of high quality. So even at 4, I'd probably still be happy for anything to come in from there. The phone likes it a bit better with this data. So if we go here to set it up, and I'll show you how different it'll be. So bottom right here, we've got the camera that's live, and then on our left, so like the full screen, we've got the SRT. So here's my hand in here. And that's coming straight off my phone, Wi-Fi wise. Now that'll stay there. You can obviously record, so I'll start recording. That's going to slot A, can't record to slot B. Function has to be set to off for it to work. You can start and stop that. Like I said, so there's a SRT to vMix. Hope that helps. You can do this through Ethernet, obviously, at the same time. This is just with one connection. You can't bond it, obviously, within XF 605. If you had something like a PEP-Link or an external device that did bonding, then you could obviously connect that up, and that would then work. But at this stage, this is the only way for us to pretty much do that. From that point of view. Hopefully that helps you out. Then you come back, you would go into the network one, which is the double arrow up top. Go back to disable. That would stop the stream. So if I go back to this here, I can do this. I get out of menu. And my SRT has disconnected. That's a freeze frame for when it disconnected. When we go back to menu here, you just can disable network because you don't need it on all the time to do anything. Then you can go back and set whatever you want in your slot Bs or normal recording, or change your recording codecs off, everything on top. Hopefully that's been really helpful. Obviously drop a comment if you need any other questions, but yeah, Nelson for Absolute Streaming, and hopefully we'll get all sorted.